Pregame.com.
Pregame.tv breaking down Thanksgiving NFL action. It is the Oakland Raiders at the Dallas Cowboys, second game of the day. I do have an opinion on this one on the total AFC playing NFC, and so anyone who's been following us probably knows which way I'm going on this game. Lack of familiarity usually means more scoring, but I know Dallas can't play any defense. Brady, Kannon, can Oakland score against that defense that everyone else is scoring against?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can. And Oakland's offense sputters a little bit, and I don't like him as much without Pryor in the game because I think his running element really adds a lot to this team. And we saw Tennessee take advantage of it last week, a low-scoring game out there in Oakland where, again, the Oakland offense really couldn't get going. Now, Tennessee's defense is a lot better than Dallas's, so yeah, I would expect some scoring here. Dallas coming off of that huge victory over the Giants. We know how they perform at home. I'd expect that defense to regress a little bit.
You said low scoring. It's interesting because amazingly that total in the Tennessee game in Oakland did land on the number at 42.
Yeah, which at 42, that's a low number these days.
It was a miracle that they got to 42. It took some
Right.
late game scoring with all that. The Oakland locker room, I mean, obviously they weren't expected to be very good this year. They played pretty capably, I would say, based on par. Are they happy there?
I think maybe they've exceeded expectations a little bit, and I don't know what their season win total at the start of the year was, but their defense is pretty darn good, and as evidenced by the total and the score last week against Tennessee. And I think Pryor, like we said, adds a real element to their offense. Now, they had a receiver, I believe it was, I'm trying to think of which receiver I thought was out of the game for Oakland last week. I'm not sure if he'll be in the mix this week. I think McKenzie in the GM role is doing a great job. I think Dennis Allen's doing a nice job as the coach. And I would expect this team to draft pretty well. And I would say maybe 2 years from now, even next year, they ought to be competitive. But I think the Raiders are on their way back.
Who wins the division in the East, in the NFC? Going to be Philly or going to be Dallas?
I think it's Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the better team. And Philly certainly has improved. Nick Foles has been great, but I still think Dallas is the superior team.
Very good. Well, on the side, I really don't have any opinion on this one, but on the total, I do like the over. I typically like when the AFC plays the NFC to go ahead and go over. Concerned with a little bit of a short time to prepare, but let me make a case.
Well, that probably makes more case that the defense is not going to be able to stop anybody.
Right. Let me go ahead and make this official, and I'll give some more reasons why. We're going to go over the 46 with Oakland and Dallas. A big part of my handicap here is the weather. And I like when a team is playing a game they need like blood, really important game in bad weather, that I expect that it'll be lower scoring. That happened with the Giants in Dallas this past week. Really windy day in the Meadowlands. And despite all that total opened 45.5, closed as low as 44, fiddle in the middle, lands on 45. Everyone who caught the weather report hit the middle on the game. But that really kept the scoring down, and I think it disguised the fact that this Dallas defense is really, really struggling. They've got all their defensive linemen are injured. They can't stop anyone right now, and push came to shove. They couldn't protect an 8-point lead. They had to hand it over to Tony Romo to save the game when it was 21-all, and surprisingly, he did indeed get it done. And I think the same thing is true, that Dallas knows they've got to win this game with their offense, now with their defense. We got two teams that I think are actually feeling fairly good about themselves. Dallas off that key win against the Giants. And I think Oakland, maybe they're feeling good about how their season has gone. Relatively speaking, they've overachieved a little bit, as Brady mentioned. But I can't think that they're happy to have to play on Thanksgiving, have to fly across the country, come into Dallas. And my experience has been offensive players, wide receivers and running backs always bring 100%. They always try to do their very, very best, maybe because partly selfish, they want to get in the end zone. It's that lackluster effort on defense that really can show up, and I could see some of the Oakland defending players just saying, boy, I really don't want to be in Dallas today. I want to be with my family. Part of that lands me on the over here as well, and frankly, with the AFC against the NFC, if you did nothing but blindly bet every one of these games over the total, you're making money. Brady, I'm going to do that in this game. I'm going to go over the 46 for a free play and go ahead and ride that trend.
All right, Mr. Fezzik going with the over the total in the Dallas Cowboys against the Oakland Raiders on Thanksgiving. We're going with that out-of-conference matchup, just as we did last week here with the Colts and the Cardinals, and sure enough, that one soared over the total. I like it, man.
You know, I have to mention on that game, one thing that I missed on that game that I should have put on the video is everyone was on Arizona, and kick me if I don't do this again. When you had Arians go from Indianapolis to Arizona,
oh, yeah.
and it wasn't like he left the team or left in disgrace. You know, it was a promotion from the offensive coordinator, interim head coach. He knew everything about Indianapolis, and of course Arizona was going to bring in that game.
When you and VR and I were talking about that, I mentioned that. I said, you know, one other factor is Arians being there, and I said, I don't know if that'll be huge, but it doesn't hurt. And yeah, I think it did factor into that game.
I think absolutely that was the slam dunk. So I'm going to be sure to like really back up that opinion on the side going forward.
He's proved to be a super coach.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's taken two teams with season win expectations of 5 and 6, and they're both obviously going to go ahead and make the playoffs. So that's just, you know, been incredible. It's good to talk the NFL. I love talking the NFL. However, we're going to talk a college game coming up here. Here at pregame.tv, we're going to be breaking down what used to be the bad Apple Cup, but it's back to the Apple Cup. It's not bad to the core. Washington State. What's this? 2 bowl teams colliding.
I know.
Stay with us, pregame.tv.